So if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen the other day that I posted asking for questions in regards to silversmithing full-time, running a jewellery business, or just aestas in general. I got a lot of good questions, and today I'm going to go through them and answer the best ones that I picked out. I'm going to start with the most common question. I had this like 10 times, or sort of like a variation of this question. What's the best way to get started in making jewellery? / how did you start out? I started out with trying to solder copper rings, which I just wouldn't suggest doing because it didn't work out for me. What I would suggest that you do if you're looking to start making jewellery, it's obviously very expensive to get started, to get all the tools and to use silver and things like that, but I would suggest buying a piece of silver wire and just creating a silver band. That was the thing that I first did successfully, and it got me hooked on making jewellery. If you just search how to make a silver band or how to make a simple silver ring, something along those lines. Next one, looking back at the beginning of aestas, is there anything you do differently now? I don't regret anything that I would have changed. The only thing I think of is that I wish that I'd made more content like this sooner. I think a lot of artists find this kind of content quite uncool, you know, talking to the camera or just sort of putting your face in videos and stuff like that. I think that once you accept your work as being a business, you need to start treating it like a business, and that comes with like marketing and just putting yourself out there. I think that it's very important to do that. In today's world of social media, people want to see who's behind the brand, you know, they don't want a faceless brand that could possibly be a corporation, or, you know, I think even with like AI and stuff now, like people want transparency and they want to see who it is they're buying from, who's making their things. Like, I think it's really important to put yourself out there. That's something that I would change. I think it's really important for aestas anyway, to kind of put myself out there and show what I do and who it is that does it. When you mold a piece, is that completely freehand and in the moment, or do you pre-design? So yeah, when I make things, I don't really spend time sort of like pre-planning it or drawing it up or anything like that. I think it's a waste of time for me because I can't draw. If I'm making something that I'm referencing from, maybe it's like something from a game, then I'll have a picture on my iPad and I'm just eyeballing it the whole way. Because I think the thing is, when I'm making something, the design changes so much throughout the process of carving, you know. It's like I might get an idea that I think will look cool and I'll try it out, or maybe my original idea just is terrible and I just have to delete it and think of something new. But yeah, it's very much so within the moment. I don't like to plan too much because I think it's better to be spontaneous and be open to your idea changing. What are your long-term goals in terms of expanding aestas and growing the business? I think right now I'm just focusing on just getting better because I've only been doing this for like 2.5 years, so there's so much room for improvement. In the long run, obviously I would love to have a big studio. I'd love to hire people to help out with making, if there's enough sales there. I would always want to be sort of in control with designs. I would never want to give that up because I think that's what I enjoy the most, is designing new things. But yeah, having a nice cool studio, a shop with people employed would be like a really cool goal, you know. That would be sort of in the long run where I'd be going. Did you learn your craft by yourself or did someone teach you? Yeah, I was completely self-taught. I didn't go to school or university for it. I wish I did because I think it would have been a really cool experience. But yeah, I just basically watched people on YouTube. I learn faster and probably better when I'm just watching someone make something rather than someone explaining how to do it. Like, I like to watch someone on Instagram, for example, making something, and then in my head I'm like breaking down what they're doing, what tools they're using. I think that works really well for me. I think when someone tells me how to do something, I start interpreting things differently, and that's when it just gets messy and it doesn't work, you know. Which website platform to go for? I would just say Shopify. I think it's the best for any product that you're making and selling. I wouldn't go big cartel. I've tried that before in a previous business and it's just so limited. Shopify is the only one that I would consider myself these days. I like this one. So, how did you know when you were ready to take your business full time? Like, it's a weird one for me because I wasn't making any sales pretty much up until about 2 months before I went full time. Like, my jewelry kind of just blew up overnight in a way. Like, I went from making maybe 1 or 2 sales a month to like 30 plus sales in a month and having enough for like a full-time salary. And I think that was because I I really niched down into what I wanted to do, which was making like medieval and dark fantasy stuff, and people just kind of liked it, I guess. All I know is that for 2 months in a row I made enough money that would be enough for a full-time salary just to cover my bills. Like, I wasn't making crazy money, but it was enough to sort of get by every month, and I wasn't enjoying my job. I was honestly, every day of working my job felt miserable, and it wasn't a bad job. The people were there great, it was a good, well-paid job, but my heart just wasn't in it, and I just was really struggling. So for me, it was a big risk not knowing if I would still make that income every month, but the way that I felt with my current job, it was like worth taking that risk because I just was really unhappy. It's always going to be a risk going full-time. Like, it's never not going to be a risk unless you have like an unlimited amount of money in the bank. Obviously, I can't say for anyone else if they shouldn't do that, because you might have responsibilities and a lot of outgoings and stuff, but yeah, I just went for it and it worked. Least favourite part of running a business? It changes for me, I think. Some days I enjoy taking photos and videos of my work and marketing and making videos like this. Other days I'll wake up and I'll just want to wax carve and I don't want to do this. So, you know, marketing is always sort of like a struggle, and I think a lot of people also feel that. The one thing I actually really would love to hire someone for is packing, because packing takes so long, and I always feel like when I'm packing I could be spending that time making new pieces and designing all the ideas that I have in my mind. So I would probably say packing is my least favourite part. How did you come up with the name Aestas? So that was a really easy one. I've got a painting downstairs in my front room that I bought from a charity shop, and on the top of the painting it says Aestas. So I just saw that and I really liked the name of it, and the way it was on the painting. So yeah, really simple, there's not much to it. I'm curious about the environmental sustainability aspect of jewellery making, good versus bad practice. I'm not too knowledgeable on this topic, I would say, in terms of jewellery, but I think as long as you're using recycled silver and the stones that you're buying are from a sort of ethical environment, then I think that's the best you can do for the most part. Like, I use a lot of synthetic stones like CZs, which I really like because they look good, they're cheap to make, no one's been exploited for them because they're not being mined or anything like that. And that's like something that I've thought a lot about. There's certain stones I wouldn't use and I wouldn't buy from certain places, and also yeah, I use recycled silver for all of my work, so that's the other thing. Other than that, I can't really think what would be an environmental issue, but I always try my best anyway. Yeah, thank you for all the questions, and hopefully this video has been entertaining, or maybe you've learned something. I'll probably do this every so often because I think I always get a lot of questions that people would like to know the answers to, and it's just easier to sort of talk about it here so you can just watch it as a video. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one.